What is up, my kings and queens and all in between? It is Andrew Velázquez with another episode of Mindful Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for coming back and returning, you guys. I am so appreciative of you receiving this podcast and make sure that you're giving us those reviews, those thumbs up. That song you just heard is called Mi Corazón. You can download wherever you stream your favorite music. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my handsome guest already. And if you're listening on podcast, wherever you stream your favorite music, go to the YouTube, check him out because you got to see that beautiful face. But before I do that, I have some homework for you guys. Make sure that you share this with somebody that you love. That way, it's most likely to come out in their algorithms. And if you are an entrepreneur, creative, spiritual person, email me. Maybe you'll be a guest on the next episode as well. So today, your one-stop shop place for creativity, spirituality, while being an entrepreneur, I have an amazing special guest. John Stapleton, everybody. Welcome, welcome, John. How are you,
Thank you. Thank
handsome?
you. Hey,
John,
happy to be here.
John T. Stapleton, too. Can I give
Yeah.
you an appropriate bio, though, before we
Sure.
dive
Yeah.
deep?
Sure.
John T. Stapleton is a Brooklyn native who moved to Los Angeles, California to pursue screenwriting after graduating the School of Visual Arts. His independent film, Mi Pollo Loco and Angels, quickly became the cult of darling of the film festival circuit. Scouted as a model, as you can see his handsome face, in the early 90s, he learned the importance of makeup on men during the heroine chic phase of fashion. Skinny boys and smoky eyes. Smolder Liner was having a moment and it was over. Stapleton turned to his next chapter phase, makeup artistry. Some were doing the way he stumbled into a notable career as a makeup artist, working with such names as Kelly Osbourne, Anika Noni Rose, Margaret Cho, and Joan Jett, propelling him into the world of backstage fashion. Stapleton worked on Fashion Police for 5 years, developed and appeared as Margaret Cho's makeup artist on VH1's The Cho Show. Recently, Stapleton was the makeup designer for the Netflix series Selena. Welcome, welcome, John T. Stapleton.
Thank you
Wow.
very much. Thank you. That sounds like I wrote it myself, which I did.
Well, I mean,
You
you
know.
have the expertise. You're kind of an
You
artist
know.
of all mediums. And I mean, for those of us that, or those that don't know, you were a mentor to me for so many years at Mac Cosmetics. I was like 19 years old when we first met.
Oh
Really
boy.
just kind of like grew into, adulthood, experienced all my 20s and my 30s, and it was
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
you had quite a few roles. You were in many departments, you
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
you rallied through all of those different jobs that were there. It was pretty cool to see,
Thank you. But
young ambitious people that that want to figure out where they want to put their footing. I think working at a cosmetic brand, I think a lot of people put it down sometimes, but I think it's such a good training place to figure out how it all works.
yeah.
If someone's wants to make their own makeup line or something like that, it's really good,
Yeah.
to figure out all the insides of it. So I'm sure
Absolutely.
that taking all those jobs on took you on your journey to figure out where you wanted to go. It was
You
cool to
said it
see.
perfectly, friend. Yeah,
Yeah,
period. I'm really am grateful for your knowledge and your mentorship. I mean,
thanks.
you really kind of took me under your wing for so many different shows and showed me your ways on how to be, backstage and how to be, behind the camera, but also in front of the camera for training, for artist training and development,
Yeah.
for launching Impact, for launching so many different pro membership parts that happen, and then the event coordinating and all this stuff. Like, I'm so grateful to have crossed paths with you and seen your ways. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
it really made a big, literally an impact in my life. And
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear that. It makes me feel very special. And I've met a lot of people through time that have said, "Hey, you did this for me," or
mhm,
I was shown a lot of kindness in my journey.
yeah,
So I think that the best thing that anyone can do in life, whatever career you're in, is
yeah,
to return it. And it comes back.
yeah,
So to me, it's sort of, to a degree, there's just something else you gain from it. It's so
hmm,
important what you get back from it, as well as the good feeling of taking care of somebody, or telling them, oh, this might be a way that you could do that. I'm not really
yeah,
a pushy person. I'm also kind of cautious with artists, because a lot of times I feel like artists are on their journey, and everyone's journey is
sure,
such a different, you know?
hmm,
So you kind of
yeah,
worry about that sometimes, about telling somebody,
Hmm.
maybe try this, that they take it personally.
Yeah, no, you said it perfectly. You are empathetic towards your direction of technicality, but also how you facilitated your, one-on-ones and or even on stage. Like you always were very well spoken and really intellectually, I can't even speak right now. You chose your words with intellect, and that was impressive. Like it made a
Thanks.
difference. And for
Thank
me,
you.
like I said, it made a huge statement. And you were a hero for sure in so many ways. So
Oh,
how does it feel when someone is talking about you being like a hero to them or a mentor? Like how does it feel to
uh,
hear
I
that back?
mean, well, first of all, you're doing so well, and I love seeing you, flying and taking and doing what you want to do with your career and sharing it with others. I think is such a beautiful thing. So to say that I inspired you to do that or was a part of that journey, it feels really good to me because that's what's interesting about the pebble that goes into the pond, how it reverberates and how it continues on. Everybody makes an impact. Also, it's really interesting. There's so many versions of you out there in the world to many people. So
Yeah.
I'm sure at times like I inspired people, but I'm sure also to some people I might have been a villain because I was
Right.
telling them like, do it this way, backstage at a show or something. And really, the main thing that I've always felt when it came to doing like runway work or whatever is, you were saying that you were there on your own talent. You were backstage on your own talent. My main concern ever when I worked on shows backstage was to really protect artists that were new because I felt that some of the people that were sort of at the top could be very cutting, and very quick. And
Sure.
so a lot of times what I would do is I would say, hold on a second, before you bring her there,
Mm.
maybe like let's look at it. So I did a lot of diverting for people.
Mm.
And actually funny story is like someone told me one time people were like, if you were in a situation where you didn't know anybody, if you saw John, go set up next to John because he'll take care of you. Because I
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to have their head ripped off. It's not a good feeling. And to me, fashion, unfortunately, like backstage runway stuff, can be really vicious.
Yeah.
And for no
It
reason
is.
at all.
Well,
You know,
you're on time sensitive schedules. You're on the designers like vision and but there's so
yeah,
many
but come
different
on, folks. I mean, it's like it's
Right, it's all the
just
same at the end of
fashion,
the day.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like nobody needs to get yelled at over something. I mean,
Right.
I've been there for disasters where like, a wedding dress turns into a lipstick and it's on her stomach like she had a gunshot.
Right.
And the perfect solution instead of the designer screaming at somebody, she handed the girl a bouquet and was like, hold it there,
Done. Yeah.
in front of that lipstick wound. Now, the poor artist that did it, of course, wanted to hide and disappear
Mortified.
forever. But human error, it happens.
Yeah. That's what I'm
So,
talking about. This is why I knew you were perfect for Mindful Artist podcast because you represent all those different
shucks.
empathetic parts and being able to like pivot and navigate and evolve and adapt to whatever situation. That's really what I'm grateful that Mac and you and other mentors like Gregory Orlt and Tiffany
Yeah,
Johnson, like you guys all taught me that to, yeah, be serious about your craft and let your talent shine, but you're gonna have to adapt wherever you go. You're gonna have to style step with each individual that you're navigating with, whether you're on a stage, whether you're
right.
backstage, or whether
Yep.
you're facilitating a classroom. Like
Yeah.
you were different versions, like you said, of yourself to
Yeah.
be that person for that moment.
Yeah. The John that I think I know is not the John that you know, is not the John that my
Right,
parents
right,
know, is
right.
not the John that my sister knows. I hate talking in third person, it's really silly, but
You're
but you know
good.
what I mean. It's like
I do.
it's that sort of thing where it's like you're a lot of things to many people and you'll
Hmm.
never know or understand why.
What I
I
valued
was I
about
was Go ahead.
I was just gonna say what I valued about your approach, although it was always with kindness, love, and light. It never
Good.
felt condescending or
Thank
you're
God.
being talked down to. It always felt like you were inclusive and you were part of diversity and some, we're all part of this together. And that's why I
Yes.
wanted to create the safe space because I finding myself going to different podcasts for different things. There wasn't one podcast that housed artistry, spirituality, entrepreneurship. And for me, they all work the same. Like they're hand
Yeah,
in hand. You know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I
yeah, I
think
think that's
so.
something really beautiful that I
Oh,
wanted
thanks.
to share. But can we go back a little time and baby
Yeah, yeah. Let's
John?
go back in time.
Yeah,
Sure.
let's talk about I feel as sensitive artists, ages 1 through 10, shape
Mm,
your aesthetic and really make a stamp of like what you're attracted to and where your
yes.
style is. So were
Yes.
you always creative during those ages? How was it growing up? Were you
Yeah.
spiritual in any way? And like share with us what who was your hero?
Yes. So, I mean, I grew up in the Catholic Church. I went to
Same.
church. My parents were churchgoers, etc., which, I appreciated in the
Mm-hmm.
way that there's something in my mind, whether, the preachings of what the Catholic Church believes in or doesn't believe in has changed over time. But still, the thing for me was that this is meditation, right? Because you stand, you sit, you kneel, you stand, sit, kneel, you follow hymns that, it's such a ingrained thing in your head that to me it felt more like a meditation. And when I was
Mm.
at church, okay, maybe when I got older I would listen to whatever the story was that had a moral to it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I was fantasizing about, oh, I would climb that, or oh, I would paint that this color, because those at
Nice.
church I would always be
Because they
like
are rather
disappearing into.
beautiful. Yes.
Oh yeah, of course, the inspirational for sure. But also like I was always thinking about something other than being there, but it would like put me in this very calm Zen mode. So spirituality has always been a part of my life. I did step away from the church, of course, and but I believe in you know higher power, and I believe that, well, of course, like most people believe that we're all connected through each other, and that
Yeah.
that we all share some kind of thing around us that connects us and
Yeah.
has us feel things and empathy and I don't know. I can't even get into like what I think it is, but
Yeah,
you
I've
know.
called it. Yeah, same. I can relate. I was raised super strict Catholic as well, and catechism, Sister Mary telling me I'm
Oh
sinning
yeah.
because I wanted to, play with lipstick or something. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there was something very romantic, and the meditation made a huge impact to me as well. And I love sage, Palo Santo, and incense and all that kind of stuff. Madonna,
Yes.
another
Yeah, yeah,
Catholic
yeah.
inspiration. But now I'm
Rosary
like
beads.
totally.
Uh-huh.
I say I'm the forever student of the University of Mother Nature, and I will always be grateful for the animals, the plants, and try to practice love and light and exude that so I
Yes.
can then in reflection receive that as well. And so that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with this
That's
platform and
wonderful.
just keep
Yeah.
it going to spread love and light because there's so much negativity out there. Like
Oh, yes. Yeah.
why can't we just share this and then this kind of be a little viral movement or a
Uh,
new artist renaissance to on a
It'd be
virtual way?
wonderful. It would be wonderful because there is a lot of negativity. And it's the thing with me is like I've never been somebody that criticizes other people's work or art or passions. Just
Yeah.
because, it's so personal to me. So a lot of times I think if someone doesn't like what I'm doing, I'm like, well, it's okay because maybe they'll like the next thing or maybe they won't or whatever. Like one time I did something and this someone commented, "Oh my God, this is so terrible. I was such a fan of your work, but unfollow." And I thought, I don't care,
Yeah,
like
it's all good. It's all
yeah,
good.
I don't, but I also think how short-sighted of you, like do I curate everything to be completely perfect so that you look at this picture perfect world? Or do I put in the things that are mistakes, that are good, bad, ugly, otherwise, and just live a life that's a little bit more natural? And sometimes there's
Yeah.
mistakes. And as I said to her, they can't all be winners. And
Yeah.
I'm not here for, constant like perfection.
No.
I like exploring and painting. And so mistakes become, I love watercolor because watercolor goes all over the place and you have to find something in it. And to me, that's a
Yeah.
great medium to use. But as far as a child goes, right? As
We
far as being a
we
kid,
went back.
yeah, I've always been drawing, painting, Constantly. My mother went back to college when I was 5, I think. And I went with her to her art classes for life drawing because, she had 3 young kids at the time, and she was dragging us around. And my brother was old enough to be in school, but I was young. And so she would take me to some of her life drawing classes, and I had my own sketchbook, and I would, you know, see what everyone was doing and try to figure all that out. So
That's
I've
so
always,
cute.
yeah, it was fun. I mean, I'm sure the drawings are terrible, but just the idea of being encouraged,
Yeah.
to continue that. And my parents were always in favor of whatever classes I wanted to take. And then I really wanted to go to an art high school in New York. It was called the High School of Art and Design, and it was sort of competitive to get into. It was between all of the boroughs, the tri-state area. So Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, Queens, and Jersey. So the chances of getting in were really tough, but I got in, and it was my mother was like, "There was no other place for you to go but that high school." So I had to travel on the train, and like I really wanted it, and I really wanted to do that, and that was from
Right.
probably, I mean, way before. I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was a kid, so I bought a wind up Super 8, not Super 8,
Mm-hmm.
8 millimeter camera,
Sure.
and I made horror films in the neighborhood. I was like a big that was my like
So
kind of
cute.
my first makeup experience was that I loved horror films, and I felt as when I was a kid, you have nightmares and stuff. I thought it was a really great way for kids to kind of not be afraid, was to figure out that
Mm.
all this is an illusion,
Yeah.
and to get into like the unwrapping of like this is how it's done. So I started buying Fangoria magazine and making my own
Nice.
blood and all this other stuff, and I would film all the kids in the neighborhood, getting their faces smashed in or whatever, and made little films and put together like a little zombie film. And so
I
I
love
was
that.
always doing
Spooky Yuki,
something.
John.
Oh my God. Well, you can't see here, but like I have one room that's all like horror posters
Nice.
and, stuff like that. I have a lot of artwork that's related to it. Big fan of Rick Baker and stuff. So
Yes,
later
yes.
get to meet him and work with him. And
Totally.
so there's been a lot of like, that's always kind of been just whatever I wanted to do. I was lucky enough to have the agency to do it and the parents that were like, just go for it,
What a
give it a shot.
blessing. What a blessing. Thank
Completely. And
What's mom's name? Let's give her a shout out.
my mother is Arlene. She passed away, and my dad is Robert or Bob. Yeah, they both
Shout
they
out to
both
Arlene and Bob.
thank you. They both left the plane within a year and a half of each other.
Okay.
Actually, yesterday was their anniversary. Today's May 1st, right?
Yeah.
Or is today the 30th?
Today's the 30th. Tomorrow's the first. Yeah.
Today is their anniversary. There you
Wow.
go.
Of their
So yeah.
wedding?
Yes.
That's beautiful. Look at that. We're
Yes.
giving
I
them
know.
some
There you
a
go.
moment. Yeah. Full circle.
And that was another thing that later in life, I guess I didn't realize was that not everybody had Bob and Arlene who were so
Yeah.
loving and caring.
Yeah.
Although my dad was a police officer and he took the job because he wanted to do good, and he did. He had a great career helping people. Um, and my mother was a teacher, very blue collar family. And I later in life realized, oh, okay, a lot of people's parents are not married still and they don't love each other. And I just, I had a different, it's probably the more abnormal upbringing than most kids were having
Yeah.
in the 70s.
Yeah, that's amazing. How long ago did they pass away? I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. So last year, I actually got laid off from my job, and my dad died 6 months before that, and my mother died right before COVID. So it was like one disaster after another.
Man.
But I know, but I, again, sourcing my spirituality and trying to like reach within myself and say, okay, so these are all hard things, but what's on the other side, there's a lot on the other side, and I'm healthy and I'm well, and I was lucky enough to know them and have them in my life, and they were always my cheerleaders. So it was always, come on, John, keep going, go, go, go. So I was like, I just have to carry on. Um, so that's what I've been doing. And it's opened up other doors.
Of course. Of
It's
course.
hard when these things happen, but people always say one door closes, another opens. Multiple doors open.
Yeah.
And you just have to try all of them and see what
Yeah.
fits. And
Yeah.
I've been having a lot. I've had a great freelance career. So, working with the corporation that I was working with for so many years, I was very dedicated to. It was difficult to let that go, but it also lent me some new things to think about and a new
Sure.
path to follow.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. I'm hearing that. And I'm sorry that 2023 had those threes, but
Yes.
that's usually when it happens, right? And then that's like through the experience of artistry and discovering yourself, I've discovered that you go through evolution, you go through different phases of yourself, which you talked about
Yes.
earlier. And
Yes.
unfortunately, loss comes with that, grieving comes with that, but also kind of like breaking down the person and having to climb back up and reinvent yourself per se.
Yes.
And because there's only one more direction after that is up, and I
Yes.
I can relate as well. I almost died last year, and then
Oh God.
our landlord died, and then my mom died, and then my two uh, babies that I've had. You probably met Phoebo at Mac Pro. I used to train there.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I'm so
Um,
sorry.
Thank you. And
And I'm
same,
sorry about
like
your mom.
I appreciate that. And she was like your parents' number
I know
one
she was important
cheerleader.
to you. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I you have two options at that point. Like, do I go down this like, super seductive, depressed kind of option, or do I go
Right.
down this light where I can inspire and can be a beacon and learn and be grateful for what they did provide and remember the good moments
Yes.
and they're still there. Like I
Oh,
feel closer to her now more
yeah.
so than ever, which is really weird.
Well, I I've always been searching for them, looking for my parents. Like, where are you? Where did you go? I need you at times, like tune in with me. And it's felt distant. Like I wanted that, and I just feel like what it is it's sort of like this spiritual composting where like you take all that garbage, and you just sort of put it back in to below you and sort of just let something bloom out of it. Um, Something good is going to come out of all of that. I started writing again, which was
Yeah,
wonderful.
I love that.
And yeah, so which was wonderful for me because I hadn't in so long. And so I've been writing a lot and really enjoying it. And then I started making movies again. I just shot a video for an artist that I work with that I
What?
was like,
That's awesome.
I went to school for filmmaking. I can do this. Like, why don't
Hello.
we just do it while we're together? So we shot a music video, which will come out soon.
That's so
And
dope.
yeah,
Congratulations.
and it's thank you. And again, we always go back to like career stuff, because I think that work really fulfills us in such a way that, it makes us feel important. It makes us feel necessary and needed.
Totally.
And without it, it's depressing. It's it's
Yeah. You
difficult
feel like
to
you have
live
a
without the
purpose.
work.
Hmm.
Yes. So, and those of us that are maybe in careers that are a little more ambitious and competitive,
Yeah,
certainly feel it more than anyone. I mean, it's
sure.
really tough to not post things, because you're like, but I'm also like, hey, when I'm not working, I'm gonna post pictures of my dogs. I'm gonna post pictures of, me
Well, we
washing
love
my
it.
face. I don't
We
know.
love it.
Well, I think I was always about when it came to like, you have to do social media now, right? I was like, I don't want to. Oh, come on, no one cares. But then I was like, you know what? I have a story to tell. It's mine. Those that like the dog parts will like the dog parts. Those that like the old modeling pictures from 100 years ago will love those. And those that want to see the work will want to see the work. And those that
Hmm.
like this client will like the pictures, and those that like that client will like the pictures. And I think
Let
that
the
we've become,
algorithm happen on its own.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, let it do what it's got to do, right?
Hmm.
But also it's like, who's to say what the right way is to do it? They were always trying to tell us, like the corporation were saying, you have to have it dedicated to your work. It's got to be all about you as a makeup artist. And I was like, I'm so much more than that. Like,
Yeah.
I have so much more to give than that, that I don't want it to be stuck on that. Cause I'm also, as I grow, I don't know that that career is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to do other artistry
Yeah.
things, I want to.
Yeah.
So now I'm back into filmmaking again, and I'm like, yeah,
Heck
this
yeah.
kind of suits me right now. So maybe I'll sit in this for a little while. But I also, of course, I had to do the makeup for the music video because
Sure.
I don't want to leave it
Hello.
some. I'm going to do
No,
both because
yeah.
I'm a control freak.
Well, yeah, and you're gonna have the eye for the detail, and you're gonna know like how to shoot it and what kind of lighting to.
Maybe, but the thing is that also being wiser now, I probably should have someone else there to handle that while I'm
Wear
thinking
the
about,
different hat.
yeah, you know, I had a friend that used to say to me like, "Oh my God, John, you're so like, oh, we need like when I'm on a set, like we need some kind of something, we need a hat," and I'd be like, "Oh, here's, let's make a hat out of that, and just like glue it on."
Literally, I've seen you do that.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Here it is. We put these glasses on there, and it's a hat.
Done. Yeah.
So,
You want a DJ too? I got a speaker
right,
over
I could do
here.
it. I could do that too. It's one of those things where it's like, let some of that go,
Yeah.
let some of that control go. And that's hard to do, I think. And I don't know why, but it's
Mm.
sort of the thing I have to work through
Okay.
a little better.
That's a little bit of a homework for you. I'm gonna hold
It
you
is
accountable to
home,
that.
it
Yeah.
is homework. And I think what's cooler anyway is that I'd rather have people that I work with, other
Exactly.
makeup artists who I really
Hmm.
love
Yeah.
in my orbit, that I know are going to cheer on the project and be a part of the
Hmm.
team, you
That you're
know?
compatible with, that you have good
Yeah.
vibes with, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And if they're going to handle the client in a way that I'm like, I know what they like, you know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
in this case, though, what was tough is it's my normal client and there's a
Mm.
lot of trust there. So it was sort of like,
Sure.
well, I'm going to do both. So I actually got all that done. Actually, the thing was, though, that I got it all done ahead of time, that I was like, my makeup will
Nice.
stay. And I don't like to
Yeah.
really go in too much anyway on a set.
Let's just
So I
keep
was like,
shooting. Yeah.
yeah, I'll just shoot and I'll be fine.
Sounds like it worked out well. I can't wait to check it out. Yeah.
It'll be up
Save the
soon. Yeah,
name for the later part of the pod because
I will. I
you'll
will.
have
I
you'll
will.
have a moment to plug all the
Okay.
things. But all right, this next segment I like to call "How You Gonna Love Someone Else If You Can't Love Your Damn Self First." So, John, what do you do for yourself selfishly? How do you take care? You touched a little bit on it by meditation, but maybe you can share your self-care beauty regimen because you're so handsome.
Oh, thanks.
And what do you do to take time selfishly before you're a service to others?
Okay, I can't say it enough to young people out there. Tretinoin is like everything.
Mm,
I'm a big Retin-A fan, always have been. So I always do that.
tretinoid.
Yeah, exactly. It's the generic name for Retin-A.
Okay.
Um, I think that the more mature you get, the more you have to, like, your skin doesn't regenerate as quickly, so you need to slough off a little bit more. So I've always been a fan of like exfoliants, and a good moisturizer, and I always wear sunscreen. Those are probably my three only, honestly, like beauty things that I do. Is like
Yeah.
I like a good moisturizer. I love a good sunscreen.
Keep it simple.
That's Yeah, and I'm very into, because I watch the kids on the TikToks.
Yeah.
So I like Korean sunscreens
Mm-hmm.
are
Yeah,
like my
those are
new
very
passion.
popular.
Yeah, and the reason being is because, like, my issue with sunscreen is always, by the end of the day, I get nice bright red eyes, right? Because our American chemicals seep into
Mm-hmm.
my eyes. For whatever reason, the Korean sunscreens are superior. They don't burn your eyes. So I
Cool.
can wear it
Okay.
all day, and I can wear it right up to like my eyelids and everything, and not worry about it
Love that.
bugging me. I love that too, because that's my
Nobody
biggest
wants red
issue.
eyes.
Ain't
Yeah.
nobody want red eyes, exactly.
No.
And then, I mean, okay, if I'm being honest,
Let's keep it real, boo.
let's keep it real. I need to get back to the gym more. So
Yeah.
I was just on tour with a band. I work with the B-52s, and I was on tour with them, and we
Oh,
go to the gym every day.
I fucking love them so
Oh,
much.
I know, they're awesome. We
Oh,
can talk all about them. We can talk all
yeah.
about them. They're amazing.
That'll be another
But
podcast.
but yeah, but they like Kate and I actually will go to the gym, and she keeps a
That's
very
so
regular schedule.
dope.
She's so fit, and she
Yeah.
pushes me, like, we're going to the gym. So
Yeah.
I was
An
back
accountability
getting
partner
in
is always good.
getting
Yeah.
oh, for sure. I have a neighbor in the desert here that also likes to go. I do hikes because we're in the desert. We have a hiking around us here, and the dogs love. I have two dogs, so
Yeah,
they
they're
love to go
beautiful.
hiking. Thank you. And so that would be part of my self-care too,
Love
you
it.
know. But
Yeah.
I've never been someone that's like, I want to be huge
No.
because I first of all, it's harder to fit clothing that way.
Hmm.
And also I'm not that disciplined, honestly.
Yeah.
I basically work out so I can eat because
Same.
I love to eat food and I love good food. And I want
Mm-hmm.
to be able to eat good food and not be like, oh, I'm watching this and that.
Right.
I work out and exercise in order to enjoy those
I
things in
love it.
life.
It's a balanced lifestyle. You're
Yeah.
having Mother Nature experiences around you. I mean, the desert's so beautiful and
Oh my
already
God. Love
so
it.
much energy there. And the sunsets, the sunrises, and you're having your babies, you're being with them, also part of Mother Nature. You're taking
Hmm.
care of your beautiful skin. So yeah, all these different things that I think are necessary for us to have that selfishly so you can be of service later and be your best version of yourself. So thank you for
Yes.
sharing that. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, this next segment is called Love is Art, Art is Love. John Stapleton, what practices or routines do you have in place to nurture your creativity and spirituality while running your business as an entrepreneur?
So how do I stay inspired?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I definitely am trolling scroller. Not in a bad way. I mean, I'm always scrolling through
Yeah.
stuff and looking at. There's so
It's like
much
the new
great stuff out
magazine.
there.
So, I mean, yeah, it makes
It
sense.
really is. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Between TikTok or Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, like, my feed has had so many great positive things in it. Like, I love dog videos and stuff because
Yeah.
I love seeing people rescuing dogs and
Anything dogs. Yeah.
bathing them and taking care of them and yeah, exactly. I
Mm-hmm.
love all that. Um, I will say, I mean, there's a lot of other artists that I follow that are like amazing artists, like Andrew Gallimore or Val Garland or Alex Box. I love Dr. Alex Box. I think is amazing. Inga Grenard, different artists that I worked with during Fashion Week that a lot of people are probably maybe not as familiar with because, you know, unfortunately, I think runway people have sort of disappeared in a way because Instagram and influencers
No
have
way.
moved to the
Mm-hmm.
forefront, you know. And
Sure.
I think that there's of course a lot of important work that's being done there, but there's also a lot of great work in history.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Way Bandy,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Aquan.
Mm-hmm.
So I look to a lot of old. You asked earlier, like when I was growing up, I really grew up in the like 70s. So I'm a big fan of like Halston and,
Absolutely.
I love all that 70s makeup and,
Mm-hmm.
all the girls in the neighborhood that would have the permed hair and the six eyeshadow colors on, I'm all about that. I'm Mr. Extra when it comes to doing things,
And it
art.
all
And
recycles. It comes back too.
yes, it does, of course. And so I also am a huge movie buff. I love like because I went to film school. I love film noir and Hitchcock and I love oh my God, I'm gonna totally blank on the name like right now, like Grand Budapest Hotel. The director's name? There's two, they have two of them have the
Hmm.
same name.
We can look it up.
Um yeah, I'm blanking right now. Um and I also like Baz Luhrmann. I like to me, seeing a film like Moulin Rouge, which was so layered with sort of CGI or what we now know as
Love
AI.
that film too. Yeah.
With it was Well, the cool thing about it is when I watched it, I thought, "Oh my God, what would Cecil B. DeMille think if he saw this
Mm.
film?"
The
You know,
multimedia of it all. Hmm.
right? And the people that kind of came and started the medium, what would they think if they could see how far we've come,
Yeah.
how incredible, it
All
is,
the
and
layers.
yeah, like how everything's possible. I
Yeah.
do actually love some AI artwork out there too. I think, although I'm really not afraid of it because I don't think it'll ever, but I dabble with it. I play with it because I think it's fun and I think you need to know about
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
There's all those videos with like women with like cats for hair and everything, that I'm
I'm curious
fascinated with
how it's going to
watching.
affect the makeup trends. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that certainly it will. But I think obviously for practical reasons will always be necessary because people need to go to events and people need to be on sets, and
Yeah.
the impossibility and the cost of it, I think would be, but I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's fun too. We can
Yeah.
use it to benefit and help. Why not?
Yes.
All right, John, can you share any tips or advice for aspiring entrepreneurs like yourself looking to incorporate more creativity or spirituality into their work?
Yes. So I think, wow. Well, incorporating creativity, I mean, I think I always used to tell people like if they have an account, like an Instagram account or, any kind of account where people can interact with it, I think it's always important because I think that you have to look through your statistics and figure out what people really like from you
Yeah,
when it comes to your
absolutely.
business.
Hmm.
So I think it's really smart to look at it and say, oh, okay, you know, this crazy clown post got more likes than my simple beauty post, which by the way is very me too, because I love crazy
Uh-huh.
clowns. And, it's sort of like, okay, they want more crazy clowns. Well, here comes
Let's give it to
John
them.
juggling. Let's give him more crazy clowns because it feeds that and it kind of, propels you forward. Now, with that, it's risky too because there's a lot of criticism around that too. So but I think looking at the what's trending for you and what's happening for you on
Very
yourself
smart.
is really
Hmm.
important. I also think like looking through and updating your hashtags. I mean, like I've been using the same hashtags for a long time. You can look it up online very simply. What are the latest hashtags for makeup? And
Hmm.
they'll give all copy and paste them and throw them in, or
Hmm.
whatever your business is, cooking or, I don't know, anything that you're doing, throw those in there too and update that every couple of months. Don't use the same ones.
Right. Love that.
Um, yeah, so because I think those things are important in for starting new young businesses. Those are,
For sure.
very good
Yeah,
tools.
I like the top three, not only in the last 3 months, the last 30 days, 6 months, maybe the last year. Look at your top three most, liked posts, but also your reels, because that's a whole thing on its own.
Yes.
And then what your market, your demographic, right? Is it
Yep.
mostly females? Is it mostly males? Is it pretty neutral? And
Right.
location, geographically, where it's located, that's going to vary too. But thank you for sharing. That's so cool. All right. So you're pretty accomplished. You've been published. You're in film. You're backstage, runway, on stage, all the stages. How do you measure success in both your creative and entrepreneurial pursuits? And do they overlap in any way? What does success mean for you now?
Uh, well, I don't know. My dad used to always say, "Oh, when John makes it, it's going to be like this," and I feel like, luckily for me, I that was when I was like a teenager. My dad would always talk about like, "Oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do that," and I feel that for me, I accomplished a lot of things within their lifetime for them to see, and they would
Yeah,
always tell me that they
you
were proud
have.
of me. Yeah,
You have.
thank you. And I think that they were always the measure for me.
Yeah.
My parents were always the measure of how well am I doing. Of course, I have my brother and sister. I have my husband who's very supportive and is in a different line of work completely.
Shout out
He's
to
in
the
education.
hubby.
Shout out to
Yes.
Craig in education. And he really thinks like everything I do is magic, which is amazing. Not everything's magic, but
I love that.
and sometimes he'll be like, it's not my favorite,
Right.
which
Right.
is honest too, which you have to
Yeah,
have.
we
You have
appreciate
to
it.
have
We need to be
those
humbled
sounding boards.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think those sounding boards are important to have those people in your life that'll say, no, bitch, calm down. It's not that
Right.
great,
Bring it down a notch.
Yeah. So I feel successful, but I feel like I'm still this journey that we're on, that all that stuff is great. I'm grateful I have my health and my family and people around me that love me, and I have friends that I can trust, and
That is success. Yeah.
that feels really good to me. I mean, I think that we're always wanting to look, the only way to really talk about any of this other stuff is that when you open stuff and you're like, oh man, that person's doing that, like I want to do that. that's just natural. But
Yeah.
I also, that might leak in a little bit, but mostly I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad they're doing that. I love seeing them with that person. That makes sense. You know, they're perfect for them. Um, you know, I have a lot of joy and I feel that I've done well and I've shared that with others. So I'm always happy to see others successful. So I think that's the thing that I try to do is really not measure myself against what's happening in the world and just try to ground myself and just remember that the kid's doing all right, period. And
Yes. Yeah.
be happy as
I
much as you
love
can.
that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we have both lost parents, and it kind of puts things into perspective and makes you streamline what, really brings you value. And anybody that has experienced loss or grief, you'll understand this too. So it's just every day is an opportunity to be a better version of yourself. That's
Yeah.
that's all we can do. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. I love that. All right, you guys. So for season two, we are still going on strong with spotlighting our favorite book for our guests.
The library is open! Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
There you have it, darling.
So this is called The Library is Open, not to share shade. This is to share light. So John, share with us your favorite book, maybe from the past or one that you're currently reading, and your reasons why.
Okay, so my favorite book, it's going to be from the past because I haven't read anything lately.
That's
It's
great.
terrible.
No,
My
do
my
it.
sister is like a voracious reader. I mean, I can't even like she'll get a book. She came here, she had a book and was done in an hour. Like it
Love
felt like
that.
an hour. It
What's
was
her
two
name?
days. Patricia. So
Shout
she
out
is
to
a
Patricia.
fast reader. Shout out to Patricia is a fast reader. We used to be like, bullshit, you didn't read that book. Me and my brother, you didn't read it. And she'd be like, I read it. What happened in
Yeah.
the middle? We would like try to test it.
Yeah.
It takes me a long time to read a book. Fact.
That's fine.
My favorite book of all time was actually given to me when I was leaving New York. It's called Geek Love by Catherine Dunn. And has been named like one of the top, it's in the top 40 of like top 100 books of all time, I think, current fiction. I love that book because I think it's a book that's about all of us. Again, it kind of repeats a theme here. It's about family. So that book is about family. It's about a circus family, if you've not read it. A family that is built by the mother and father who sort of, without giving it away, sort of medicate during gestation to create these unique babies that will be part of the
Sure.
circus family. So the things that people do, it's really, to me, it's about the place in family, the pecking order of things, who you are to them, sort of repeating a theme as I did before. Everyone's version of you is different. So
Yeah.
how your family sees you, et cetera, and how you operate within there. And I just thought it was unique. And it's been kicked around for years that Tim Burton was going to make a film of this, but it's
Oh
never
my
happened.
God, that would be crazy.
It would be
Maybe,
amazing.
maybe you're gonna do it.
Maybe it will be me. Maybe it'll be me. I hope so.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. Maybe I'll write it.
There you go.
The script. But I will say that Big Fish by Tim Burton has some kind of similarity to it. So I feel like there was a little borrowing there in some
I
ways.
had never thought about that. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. But I love that book, and I think it's a great book for anyone to read. Everyone has a family, so
Very cool. Yeah, we're all habitual creatures that are wanting to belong and be a part of something grand and feel accepted and loved. And yeah, they all kind of share that same, I guess, philosophy, right?
yeah.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Geek Love by Catherine Dunn. You guys heard it here. John's favorite book. So make sure to check it out, or maybe check out his film if he recreates it.
I wish.
Love it. Okay, so another segment, one of my favorites. This is a wrapping up Mindful Artist rapid cues. Try not to think about it too hard, John.
Okay.
Question number one, intuitively answer, who is your hero and why?
Oh my gosh, my dad.
Yeah,
My dad's my hero. My father, Robert Stapleton.
it's a great name.
great name, great guy to pick. My dad was a kind man. He was a police officer. He saved many lives. He was very gentle and loving, but intimidating looking. Like the neighborhood was scared of him because he looked like a real tough guy.
Yeah.
But he was a real sweetheart.
Teddy bear.
Yep, and he was just good and generous. Like my dad would spend his last $5 taking you out to, get a milkshake because you wanted it, he just is an incredible human being, and I miss him.
Yeah, he's with you. Shout out to
Yeah,
Robert Stapleton.
that's
Love
right.
that. Thank you
Bob.
for sharing that. All right, wrapping up my 4 hours rapid cues. John Stapleton, what is your favorite music album of all time and why?
Oh my gosh.
The
Okay, my
music
favorite
of it
music album.
all.
Wow. Okay, so my favorite music album of all time. Oh my gosh. There's so many.
Little John,
Oh, I
listening
know.
to
Little
this
Little John.
Discman or vinyl from track
No,
one.
vinyl. Okay. So I'm gonna have to pick Blondie Parallel Lines.
Yes.
So that
You're
was
gonna
like
pick
the
something
first
cool.
that was the first album I bought myself. So I bought it. I bought the whole album, and I'm beginning to end. I love
It
that
was
album.
significant. Yeah.
So significant because I purchased it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was vinyl.
Love
And
that.
actually, you know what? It was a tape. It wasn't vinyl.
Okay. See.
It was a
Yeah.
tape, cassette tape.
Yeah.
Because I think I had
It's so
singles
good.
from that point before. I always had like 45s, and that was the first. Yeah, it was like the first album, and it was available on cassette. So
Parallel lines. Yeah. I knew
yeah,
you'd pick something really dope.
thanks.
Good answer. All right. Final question for wrapping up my 4 artist rapid cues. John Stapleton, what is your favorite quote?
Oh my God. Oh God, I have a good one. It's my mom used to say it, and it's actually it's actually Dorothy Parker. I love a good martini, 2 at the most. 3 I'm under the table, 4 I'm under the host.
Yes. I love that.
My mother
Yes.
loved a good beefeater martini, so she gin martini. So she would,
Dorothy Parker. Oh my
that was her.
God.
That was
So
her favorite
good.
quote.
Well said, my friend. Oh my God. You're so fun. I could talk to you for
Thanks.
hours. This
Well,
is
hey, let's do it.
such a delight. I know, right? But it's an hour show. And, this is
People
your
have had
time.
enough.
I know, right? Can you tell us where to follow you and see your talent,
Yeah.
your craft? What are the next projects coming up that you can announce? Plug it all in.
Okay. I'll tell you. So, John Stapleton on Instagram. That's it. And I'm on TikTok too. I think it's under the same John Stapleton. Actually, it might be under John T Stapleton, like you mentioned, which is for Thomas. What am I working on? Well, I've been touring with the B-52s, which is really fun. I work
Yes.
with Kate Pearson, the redhead, who's amazing, and Kate and Cindy are amazing, and
Icons,
Fred, all 3
legends.
of them, totally. And so I just directed a new music video for Kate's solo project called Radios and Rainbows, which is coming out in a couple of months.
You guys
So
heard it here first.
there you go. So that's the latest thing that I worked on. And what else? I don't know. I'm just gigging, I also worked on an album cover for Margaret Cho's new album, comedy
I love
album.
her. Love
Yeah,
her so
she's
much.
amazing. So
Yeah.
amazing. Such a great, kind, intelligent person.
Mhm.
And I worked on her album, which is really cool. We did something really different for her, a different kind of look.
Her latest album?
Yeah, it'll be coming
Okay.
out, I think probably
Dang, you're busy.
probably this towards fall, maybe.
Love
Like
it.
August or something. I'm busy enough. I mean, it's like these are like
Right.
one-off things that are cool, but it's a different kind of busy. This freelance lifestyle is new for me because like when I worked for Mac, and I worked for a cosmetic company, I needed to be somewhere 5 days a week, so
Right.
I would always put myself somewhere, I'm going to go visit a store, I'm going to do this, and I'm used to that. So this is a very different way of working. But I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah,
'Cause I
it's
can do
more
other things,
streamlined. And then now it's like on your obligations, your schedule. You get to pick and
Yes.
choose who's going to get your attention and the talent that you have when it's necessary.
And
Right?
today it's you, my friend.
Yay! I'm so grateful. Thank
We get
you
to share
so
our talent
much
together.
for sharing your light and love for baby Andrew
Happy to be
and
here.
adult Andrew. We're here now
Yes.
in full circle. You guys, John Stapleton, thank you so much. Everybody go follow and see what he's coming up with. This is your one-stop shop place for all things mindfulness, creativity, while being an entrepreneur. Make sure that you give us those thumbs up, those likings, those reviews. That song you're about to hear is called Mi Corazón. Corazón, wherever you stream your favorite music, written by myself, produced by Aaron McClendon. Until the next time, you guys, make an impact in somebody's life. Much love and light to you all. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bravo.